The time has come. SpaceX Q2 earnings is a matter of hours away. In this video, we'll do a quick preview, see what's being said in the finance media, talk about the SpaceX insider share lockup expiry and what that could mean for SpaceX stock. Plus, I'll give an update on my current stock portfolio. First, when is the earnings report posted? The answer, after the stock market closes on Tuesday, 4th of August, US time. Second, when is the earnings call? That begins at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the same day, Tuesday. Third, how do you listen to the earnings call live? Head to ir.spacex.com. I also recommend pre-registering as well. All of this info is available at ir.spacex.com. And just to let you know, I will be posting highlights of the earnings report itself and a full recap of the earnings call very soon after the call ends. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. If things go well, it could be roughly within an hour of the call ending. Fair warning, SpaceX stock itself may be quite volatile in and around the earnings report and the call, so grab some popcorn. Today, SpaceX stock closed up nearly 6%, still well below the IPO price. Let's check out what CNBC had to say.
SpaceX shares around their lowest level since going public, and some big events are looming this week. The much talked about lockup expirations, earnings tomorrow. We'll focus on the lockups first. That's where the biggest drag on the stock has clearly been. Morgan Brennan joins us now with the details as we look ahead to that. Hi there.
Hey, Scott, that's right. Stratospheric milestones for SpaceX. Well, let's start here. It's the supply story. So when the first stock lockup expires on Thursday, you've got 911 million shares owned by about 20% of insiders and early investors become eligible to sell. Just to put that in perspective, SpaceX sold 629 million shares, or less than 5% of shares outstanding in the IPO. That's just the first wave. Through the end of September, the public float is poised to triple. Supply will continue to swell until next June, and in total, according to Morningstar, share total could climb to, at least in theory, more than 6.4 billion shares. Now, this is one reason that SpaceX shares have tumbled about 20%. We've bounced back a little bit from that today here in trading. From the IPO price, down more than 50% from the intraday high. Wall Street is betting that this continues. S3 Partners says short sellers now hold 32% of the company's current publicly tradable float. We got more on that.
Wow. Well, good luck to the short sellers. I hope they have lubricated sufficiently in case this extremely high risk bet doesn't work in their favor. Roughly a third of the float being actively short right now. Holy shit. We all know what happened to the long-term Tesla short sellers in the past. They'll never walk the same again. So these lockups, to boil it down for those who don't understand this terminology, in simple terms, most of the current existing SpaceX shares are not yet able to actually be sold. They're locked up. They're held by insiders, early investors, company employees, and so on. Eventually, all of the shares that exist will be unlocked, and this will be happening slowly over time. The first unlock, 2 full days after the earnings, so that will be Thursday, August 6th, up to 20% of shares can unlock. Now, this doesn't mean that 20% of SpaceX shares will be sold. It just means that people will now have the option who previously didn't. There's an additional 10% that would only unlock if the closing price for SpaceX stock, which as I'm recording this is $115 give or take, was equal to or more than 30% above the $135 IPO price, which would mean $175.50. Wait for it. On at least 5 of the 10 consecutive trading days ending on and including the first earnings release date. This has not happened, so that additional 10% will not trigger. Following that, an additional 7% unlocks August 20th, 21st, another 7% on September 9th to 10th, another 7% later in September, another 7% early October, another 7% later October, and then late October, early November. After the Q3 earnings, an additional 28%, and the rest in early December. So let's think through what might happen with these share lockups expiring. We'll start with the extremes. The odds of no insiders selling any SpaceX stock after they're able to is close to 0. The odds of all insiders selling all the stock they're able to once it unlocks, also close to 0. It's also worth adding that many insiders who are currently locked up are SpaceX employees who've actually had 6-month liquidity events going back many years, meaning a lot of the insiders, the employees who receive stock-based compensation, have had opportunities twice per year, in most cases as long as they've been SpaceX employees, to sell some stock to get liquidity. Maybe they're buying a new home, upgrading their wife, diversifying into Tesla stock, whatever else. Many insiders are likely to be early investors sitting on enormous profits. The question then would become, what do they believe the future of the company looks like? Do they have a fiduciary responsibility to sell some portion of their holdings to lock in a profit to return to investors? The bottom line is that it's a pretty high probability guess that there will be some selling from some insiders at each lockup expiry. But now let's zoom out. Investors know this. Big, deep-pocketed investors especially know this. And there's a high probability that many of these investors have a pile of cash waiting, ready to either initiate or add to a SpaceX position around these lockup expiries. My best guess, and that's all it would be, is that there's probably going to be plenty of sellers and plenty of buyers. But the question is around, what does the balance net out to? Many people think they know what's going to happen, but no one really does. If there is not a perfect balance, equilibrium between buyers and sellers around those lockups, one thing I can say for sure, excitement is guaranteed. Expect volatility. I'd also caution the probability of volatility in the hours leading up to, and then in the wake of the earnings report dropping, and then the earnings call. I mean, anything could happen. We've seen companies like Amazon and Microsoft recently report earnings and see their stocks move by around 15%. And these are multi-trillion-dollar companies. Now, as promised, an update on my stock portfolio. As you can see on screen now, SpaceX has grown to over 3% of my stock portfolio by value. I did not employ the wait and hope strategy. I sought the maximum allocation ahead of the IPO at the $135 price. And I've continued averaging in since, now have deployed roughly 2/3 or more of my total available cash. The reason for this is because, one, I am not extremely retarded, so I don't live in delusion of thinking that I actually know what would occur to the stock price over any short time frame. And number two, much more importantly, I've built a valuation model spanning 20 years for SpaceX. And through that lens, whether I'm buying SpaceX stock with a market cap of 3 trillion, 2 trillion, 1 trillion, half a trillion, makes no fucking difference whatsoever. Certainly, the lower the price, the better, because the further my money's going. But I'm trying to build a position here. If you're a regular viewer, you'll have seen the stock portfolio ratio increase from SpaceX representing around 1% initially, climbing to 2 and now to 3. My goal here is to build a position in SpaceX as fast as I reasonably can at a valuation that I'm extremely happy with relative to my long-term expectations for the company's value. Not sit on the sidelines and hope. As I've said before, hope is not a strategy. This is why I built my model, to guide my decisions, to give me a picture of what I believe the company will be worth over the long term. This prevents me from sitting around hoping. Now, it is true that a poor strategy can sometimes produce good results, but it has been my experience and observation that that happens far less often than a good strategy produces poor results. You are, of course, hearing from a guy who purchased Tesla stock from 2016 through to 2025, an entire decade of buying, not trying to time the market. The strategy then was pretty simple. Model Tesla over the long term, 10 plus years into the future. Do I believe the company will be worth meaningfully more than it is today? Yes. Do I have money? Yes. Buy Tesla stock. Not once did I ever try and time the market on Tesla stock. And my split adjusted purchase prices on Tesla are all the way down as low as $12 and a few cents per share, up to the high 300s. And my average price on Tesla stock is about $114 per share. That was the result of me pouring in every spare cent over the span of about a decade. I don't want to spoil the story, but in retrospect, the strategies seem to work out relatively well. I'm now attempting to do a similar thing with SpaceX in terms of building a position by buying at valuations that I see as great deals relative to what I believe the company is worth long term, not trying to overthink it, not trying to time the market. That being said, I do have some cash available currently. I'm not 100% in yet because my goal initially, when we heard about the SpaceX IPO, was to average in over time to counteract potential volatility in, around, and after the IPO. My current price on SpaceX stock, my average price per share is $128. This is below the pre-IPO allocation price of $135. Had I bought every share on day one, just at the open around $150, obviously I'd have a much higher average price. For what it's worth, I did actually explain on Patreon before the SpaceX IPO exactly how I intended on deploying my cash. The bottom line was to buy what I can at IPO allocation and then average in over a period of time, but try to get in as fast as I reasonably can. The strategy's actually been really simple. Build a position in SpaceX of reasonable size as fast as I reasonably can at a valuation that I believe 10, 20 years from now is going to look like an absolute bargain. And since I have built a long-term SpaceX valuation model, which I'm sure you people are going, hey, he hasn't plugged it yet. What's going on? I thought he'd plug it by now. Don't worry, it'll be coming. Because I built the model, I've been able to make decisions with confidence and deploy capital with confidence, not sit around and hope. Now, if the stock goes lower, which it absolutely could, great. I still have a little bit of cash left because I intended on averaging in. I'd been saving knowing this IPO was coming, had a pile of cash. The lower it goes, the further my money goes. But I'm happy having purchased at 135, at 108, at 150, at 170, because I've built the model. And I see all of those purchase prices relative to the future valuation of the company per my estimates as a steal. Let me drive this point home. On screen now are my Tesla purchase prices, beginning in 2016 in order, oldest to newest. Actually, technically, these are the total cost basis, which included some brokerage fees, but whatever. Started buying under $14 a share. Then 16, 17, 16, 13, 13, 12, 15, 20, 17, 18, 17, 16, 18, 17, 17, 17, 17, 16, 16, 15, 13, 12, 12, 40, 36, 30, 28, 51, 48, 48, 51, 54, 54, 53, 54, 54. You guys get the fucking point. I just bought when I had cash. And over time, as Tesla stock trended higher, I was paying more because I thought, I have money. Does it look like a good deal relative to my long-term Tesla valuation? It does. Oh, I'll buy some more. Simple as that. My highest purchase price, not far off $400 per share. Stock came back dramatically after that point, getting as low as nearly $200. I was buying it for almost twice as much. But my decisions were made quite simple by having modeled out the company, looked into the distant future, asked myself, does it look like a good deal at this current price? And do I have money? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, okay, I buy more. I'm doing the exact same thing with SpaceX. It's really that simple. Let's get back to CNBS.
First earnings as a public company. That happens tomorrow after the bell. And here's what to watch with that report. Starlink results, CapEx plans, and guidance for Starship after a successful 13th test flight. Starship is really key to the future growth plans, including those data centers in space. How much do Starlink subscriber growth, NeoCloud deals with the likes of Anthropic and Google, and multi-billion-dollar government contracts offset the cash burn associated with the AI build-out? That will be the key question that investors are looking to have answered by Elon Musk and co. tomorrow night. Scott?
All right, going to be a big week. Morgan, thanks so much for that. That is Morgan Brennan setting the table for us. I almost feel like it's like the earnings, because all the talk has been about the lockup. And if you look at the stock activity from the day it went public until today, all I keep hearing about is lockup, lockup, lockup. And
it's actually really funny because if you're a CNBS talking head, that probably is all you're hearing about with the trader mentality. They've got a literal segment called Fast Money, like a trader desk and shit like this. Yeah. Meanwhile, I have barely mentioned the lockups because I'm much more interested in the company, especially the AI compute business, which just about everyone is still completely ignoring. And here it comes, ladies and gentlemen, possibly the final plug for my 20-year SpaceX and Tesla valuation model, which is being carried by AI compute. The new model is going live in a matter of hours, maybe at most days. And if it goes live after the earnings call happens, I'll integrate all the new learnings and information into it. But this is the last chance. Patreon prices increase when the model goes live. I want to make sure everybody knows. You can join now and lock in current prices by going to patreon.com/solving the money problem, or wait till after the model goes live and pay more for the exact same access. So back to CNBS. The fact that all they're hearing about allegedly is the lockups tells you everything you need to know about the mentality here. It's a trader's mindset. It's not thinking about what is this company worth over the long term? What's the true value of the company? It's what will the stock do? Totally separate things. The contrast couldn't be starker. I've literally been saying AI compute motherfuckers for the last month and a half, every video. Whereas these guys, all they're hearing apparently about SpaceX, it's not AI compute motherfuckers, it's the stock lockups. The stock might crash. What's the stock going to do around the lockups? Pretty hilarious.
that's why the stock has been weak, anticipating that.
For sure. It's interesting that the lockup comes 48 hours after the earnings. I'm not sure that I like that setup in the calendar. The estimated move, according to the options market, is somewhere around 15%. That is a pretty big move for what SpaceX is going to be trading like in the days after the earnings report. I think, obviously, we know it's going to be a loss. I think the level of the loss is important to understand. I also think this is the first step towards those like myself who have said it's very difficult to fundamentally value this company, to begin to understand what this company is all about. But I don't like the setup, Scott, as you move through the entirety of the year. Even as you move into 2027 in Elon's own stake, and SpaceX unlocks and he has the ability to sell. I don't like that.
Odds of Musk selling any SpaceX stock in meaningful volumes, very low. This is really fascinating to me. We've got all this doom and gloom around the lockups throughout the rest of the year. So far, no discussion about the company's intrinsic value, any of the needle movers, the potential of the AI compute business to explode out of nowhere in a good way, bring on multiple gigawatts of AI compute in the next 12 to 24 months, monetize most of it, and massively increase recurring revenue. And this brings me back again to the critical point. This is why you need to build your own valuation model. Otherwise, you end up like these fuckwits going, the lockups, I better wait till the lockup drama's finished 6 months from now. Which, by the way, is a very poor strategy, but it could work out. But what if it doesn't? What if in the next quarter or two, while people are sitting on the sidelines, oh no, the lockups, oh my God, with cash to invest, but they're too scared because what about the lockups, bro? What if in the next couple of quarters, SpaceX were to bring on another gigawatt of AI compute and monetize the majority of it, and suddenly their revenue is up 50% at an annualized rate? What if that happened in back-to-back quarters? Oh, but the lockups, bro, the lockups. More to the point, imagine an investor 10 years from now, 20 years from now, looking back at people umming and ahhing, oh my God, the lockups, with SpaceX under a $1.5 trillion valuation. Because, oh no, the lockups. I don't know what will happen to the stock over the short term, nor would I be dumb enough or arrogant enough to even attempt to predict what the stock will do. But I do know for certain what future Stephen will think about present Stephen's buying with SpaceX well under $1.5 trillion. And present Stephen would just like to send a message to future Stephen. Yeah, bro, I know. You're welcome. Don't forget, last chance before the Patreon price increases. The model's almost done, and I mean that literally. It's dropping in the next few hours, maybe days at most. You can join now, lock in current prices by using the link below or heading to patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem. And I'll see you guys all very soon for a full recap of SpaceX's first ever earnings as a publicly traded company. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate the content and want to support the channel, check out the links below where you can get early access to daily videos, unlock hundreds of exclusive pieces of content, and plenty more. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.